So today is the second last day, or rather, yeah, it's the second last day of Damodar Ashtakam and Kartik Mas. We all have heard this wonderful story of how Krishna is bound by Mother Yashoda. In Vrindavan Dham, Krishna is seen not as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is a very important point for us to realize. He is seen as a child, he is seen as a friend, he is seen as a lover, but he is never seen as God. That is what makes Vrindavan Dham very special. And Krishna is not diminished by the fact that he is seen as the Supreme, is not seen as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is a very important point. Very often, when we want to establish our supremacy, we want everyone to know that we have a position. And in that position, we want everyone to respect us. But Krishna never demands that respect. Because the devotees of the Lord, they are so pure in their devotion to Krishna, that instead of seeing him from a position of awe and reverence, the devotees of Vrindavan, they see him from a position of much more intimacy. The Vaikuntha planet residents see Krishna in awe and reverence. In Lord Ram's Leela, for example, Krishna was seen in the mood of awe and reverence by the Vanaras, but not in Vrindavan Leela. And that's why in Vrindavan, these pastimes can occur. Otherwise, it is not possible. It is not possible. That doesn't mean that you and I can become familiar with Krishna and think that we are now in Vrindavan and therefore we can talk to Krishna and do with Krishna exactly as we want. Srila Prabhupada told us that it is very important that in all our services, while there must be love and devotion to Krishna, we must also have the service attitude to Krishna. That is very safe for us in devotional service. We are not on the level of Mother Yashoda, but we can learn from her through the pastime how much we have to understand and improve our devotional service. Mother Yashoda started Diwali day on a very important note. She wanted to do some service for Krishna. And that should be our mood. That wherever we are, in whatever situation we are in, we should always pray for an opportunity to do service for Krishna. It should not be that we are just wasting our human life and we are not using it in the service of the Lord. So it is something that we all, each of us, have to be very reflective on. How much time are we giving to Krishna? And how much time are we not giving to Krishna? The more we can set aside time for Krishna, the more happiness and the more bliss we will get. But the more we don't have faith in Krishna, then the less time we will have for Krishna. Which brings us to a very important point. You will only set aside time for Krishna when you have faith in Krishna. And your faith in Krishna is proportionate to the amount of time you give, and the amount of time that you give is proportionate to the reflection of the faith that you have in Krishna. You see the connection? Your time and faith are intimately connected. Mother Yashoda woke up and the first thing she did on Diwali day, after getting nicely dressed, was to actually churn butter for Krishna. That's what she did. And she did not waste time doing anything else. She just went straight to her service and she performed her service. And while she was performing her service, her mind was not idle. This mind, the Bhagavad Gita says, can either be your best friend or it can be your worst enemy. You are all seated here and you are seated in a very auspicious atmosphere. But only Krishna knows where your mind is. You could be looking at me and looking very attentive, but your mind could be elsewhere. Your mind could be thinking, what prasadam will they serve? Your mind could be thinking, how long is he going to speak? Your mind could be thinking, how many times have I heard this? Do I have to hear one more time? So we don't know what your mind is thinking. But if your mind is aligned with devotion to Krishna, then it is your friend. How do you control your mind? Bhagavad Gita says 2 ways. By the weapon, Bhagavatam says 2 ways. By the weapon of service to the spiritual master, and by the weapon of service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now you know why Mother Yashoda was serving Krishna. She was serving Krishna because by serving him, her mind became controlled. See how automatic and easy it is to control the mind. When you become engaged in service, your senses are all dedicated to that service. The chances of your mind moving with your service would be very easy, much easier. But if you are not doing any service for Krishna, don't expect your mind to be with him. It's very difficult, very difficult. That's why Srila Prabhupada defined bhakti as devotional service. Normally people define bhakti as devotion. But devotion is a sentiment. And until it is expressed in actuality and action, it remains a sentiment. You see the point? It's very important. So therefore, Mother Yashoda taught us the first lesson in bhakti. That if you want to make any kind of advancement and control your mind, please do service for Krishna. It can be the simplest of service. The squirrel picked up little pebbles and threw it into the water when Lord Ram commanded the Vanaras to build the bridge. And the Vanaras laughed at the squirrel and said, please move aside. Your small effort, right, can easily be taken over by my large throwing of the boulders. But Lord Ram came and intervened. And he told the Vanaras that the squirrel's effort to put in the pebble pleases me as much as your effort to throw in huge boulders into the ocean. Why? Because you are acting according to your strength and the squirrel is acting according to its strength. So we must know what we are good at or what we are not good at. But in any event, if we try for Krishna, Krishna will accept it. Krishna is not looking for perfection. Krishna is looking for purity, purity of intention. That's all that matters to Krishna. So Mother Yashoda churned butter and she attracted Krishna in such a way that while he was sleeping, he woke up. And he came to see his mother and indicated to his mother that he wanted to have milk from her and to rest on her lap, which is exactly what Mother Yashoda wanted. And so Mother Yashoda picked up Krishna, put down the churning of the butter and started feeding him. And as she fed Krishna, she was extremely blissful. And so was Krishna. And so are we when we are doing devotional service. But then what happened was, Mother Yashoda had put a pot of milk in the kitchen. And she could hear and smell that the pot was going off and it was going to boil. Now it is very nicely stated in Shastras that in Vrindavan Dham, because Krishna is the object of affection for all, that also includes inanimate objects. Ishavasya midam sarvam. Everything is coming from Krishna. Jagat in that verse means animate and inanimate. Srila Prabhupada does the transliteration, animate and inanimate. Now in this material world, animate objects don't interact with us. Now this mic is not having a conversation with me. It's a one-way conversation. I'm speaking, mic has to hear, no choice. But in Vrindavan Dham, it is very different. Every animate and inanimate object wants to serve Krishna. That's why when Brahmaji went to hear about the glories of Krishna in Vrindavan, he prayed that he would become dust and he would become grass in Vrindavan. You may think, what's the point of being grass in Vrindavan? But the grass in Vrindavan becomes ecstatic when Krishna touches it. The trees become ecstatic when Krishna embraces the trees. The cows become so happy when Krishna hugs them. Even the pots, even the jewelry of Krishna, right, which touches Krishna is in ecstasy, is in ecstasy. So in this pastime, every inanimate object had a part to play in Krishna's pastime. So when Mother Yashoda was happily doing service for Krishna, the pot of milk wanted to do service also. And therefore its service role was to boil. And it boiled very well. And Mother Yashoda went, leaving Krishna on the floor. Now when Krishna was put down, Krishna book, Srila Prabhupada says, Krishna became transcendently angry. He was not angry with Mother Yashoda, but he was angry with her as a son should be with his mother when he or she has not been fed fully. So then Mother Yashoda left and Krishna's cheeks became reddish. Bhagavatam says his cheeks became reddish and he became very upset. And he said, I will punish my mother. So what he did was he picked up the stone and in a tantrum, which you all know children are fully capable of, and even today adults are fully capable of, right? So he took the stone and he broke the pot. And when he broke the pot, all the milk and butter began flowing out. Very, very nice, rich butter. It was meant for Krishna, but it came out. And when it came out, what happened? Immediately Krishna became very happy and he started eating the butter. As he started eating the butter, Krishna was very happy because Krishna loved butter, especially Mother Yashoda's butter. But he also loved all butter. He would go to everybody's house and he would steal butter. And when Mother Yashoda was confronted by the gopis with incontrovertible evidence that Krishna was eating butter because his face was full of butter, Mother Yashoda would ask Krishna, Krishna, did you steal butter? And Krishna would say, no, I never stole butter. I don't even know what butter is. But there he was with butter all over his face. Now Mother Yashoda would look very strict, but inside she was starting to laugh. The gopis would look very strict, but inside they were starting to laugh. And in this way, Krishna charmed the residents of Vrindavan. But now Mother Yashoda was going to come out, and Krishna decided, let me run away. So he ran, but as he ran, he left footprints of butter, and he ran inside. Mother Yashoda has come out because the service of the milk has been completed. And what does she do? She finds to her horror that Krishna has destroyed all her hard work. But she's not angry with Krishna. She's concerned about Krishna. Because she thinks now this Krishna will go up to be a juvenile delinquent. And he'll get into trouble with the law. He will go to jail. He'll become a thief. So better I do something for him. Let me discipline him today. So what does she do? She takes up the stick and she decides, let me go and find Krishna to discipline him. Now this is a very important part of the pastime. Sometimes we think we shouldn't discipline our children. In Bhagavatam, even Mother Yashoda was disciplining a child. We have to discipline our children. It's very important. They need to know where to run, what to do, and when to do what. And Mother Yashoda was very particular about that. And so she took the stick and she walked in. When she went in, she saw to her surprise that Krishna was in the storeroom where all the butter pots were hanging. It was too high for him. It was what we call Krishna proof. Krishna can't reach it. But Krishna is intelligent. He is the supreme personality of Godhead. So what does he do? He stands on a mortar and he's able to tiptoe and he's able to get to the pot. Some pots he can put his hand in and he's taking out butter. You know when children take out things, right, they're very messy, isn't it? So Krishna was like that. He was just taking out butter. But in other places when he could not take out butter, he was just breaking the pots with a stick. And butter was flowing. But Krishna was not alone. Krishna was distributing butter to all his friends, the monkeys of Vrindavan. And they were happily eating, and Krishna was happily eating. And the butter was happily going. And now, Mother Yashoda saw that pastime, and she thought, Krishna is really mischievous. Not only does he steal butter, but he implicates and encourages others to steal with him also. So Mother Yashoda was watching them, but she did not realize the significance of this interaction between him, Krishna, and the monkeys. The monkeys who are in Vrindavan are not ordinary animals. The monkeys in Vrindavan come from Ram Leela. They are the Vanaras. Hanuman, Sugriva, Angada, they were the Vanara race. And the same monkeys who served Lord Ram prayed to Lord Ram at the end of Treta Yuga that somehow or another give us a chance to come back to serve you. Lord Ram asked them an important question. Ask anything from me and I will give it to you. If someone were to ask you, if God were to come in front of you and say, ask anything you want right now and I'll give it to you, what would you ask? What would be your top 5 items? You probably bargain. Can I ask not just one, maybe 5? Well, if you were to ask for something now, what would you ask? Would you ask for a good job or a lousy boss? Krishna, please eliminate my lousy boss. I don't know how you do it, but just do it. Or would, Krishna, my exams are around the corner. Just make sure that I don't study well, but I get excellent results. Or Krishna, make me the best devotee that I can be. According to our desires, Krishna fulfills. Ye yata mam prapadyante tam stataiva bhajamyaham. So Krishna is very particular. And it is stated in Bhagavatam that a pure devotee of the Lord doesn't ask anything material from Krishna. Because the pure devotee is cognizant of one fact, that whatever that we ask which is material must leave us. It is the nature of material nature. You cannot escape it. You may think that it will bring you happiness, but the happiness that you get is temporary. Very important. Why to use Krishna for that which is temporary when he's giving us the greatest gift, which is bhakti? So Mother Yashoda, rather the Vanaras, instead of asking something material, they said, Lord Ram, we don't want anything material from you. Just give us another chance when you come back to this world. Allow us to come back and serve you again. That's all they wanted. And so Lord Ram, when he came back as Krishna in Dwapara Yuga, Krishna did not forget his promise. And he allowed all these monkeys, the Vanaras, to be born again and take birth in Vrindavan Dham, where they would be in eternal service with Krishna. So it shows you one thing. If you want to ask for something material, Krishna will definitely give it to you. Bhagavatam says Krishna bestows all material and spiritual benedictions. He does. But those who want spiritual benedictions, they are considered to be truly intelligent. And those who want material benedictions, eventually Krishna will stop the flow. Just like you can't keep asking your parent, today ice cream, tomorrow ice cream, the day after ice cream. Every day if you ask ice cream, eventually your father or mother will say, stop it now. No more ice cream. You can ask one day, but you won't ask every day. And he won't give it to you every day. So Krishna's like that. If you ask for something material, he may give it to you, but eventually it will stop. And then you will become discouraged. You will think, why am I not getting something? Because you're not asking for the right things. So the Vanaras asked to serve Krishna, and they came as monkeys, and Krishna and them were engaged in wonderful leela of serving each other. Not only did the monkeys serve Krishna, but in this particular leela, Krishna serves the monkeys, right? This is transcendental book prasadam distribution, because he was feeding them butter. He was giving everything to them, and they were eating very nicely until they saw Mother Yashoda at the door. Then they ran, leaving only Krishna behind. And when Krishna was left behind and he turned around, he saw Mother Yashoda. And immediately Krishna exhibited the pastime of fear. Fear. God, Krishna, fearful of a mother. How is that possible? And he started running. As he started running, Mother Yashoda decided, let me catch him now. And so she tried. But the more she tried to catch him, the further away Krishna was. Just when she was about to catch him, his dhoti, he would be 1 meter away. And Mother Yashoda never gave up trying, but she was becoming tired. Prabhupada writes, she started becoming tired. She was perspiring. She wasn't very, very fit, not like Krishna who could run and run and run. And so finally she surrendered. She told Krishna in her heart, Krishna, please let me catch you, because I don't know how else to catch you. And when she surrendered in that mood of faith, Krishna allowed himself to be caught. This is very important. The only way for us to interact and actually enter into the kingdom of God is to actually increase our faith and to increase our service and to increase our surrender. Surrender in Bhagavatam is known as Sharanam. And therefore, Mother Yashoda surrendered to Krishna. At the point that she surrendered to Krishna, Krishna surrendered to her. You see the exchange? Krishna surrendered to her. And he said, all right, mother, you can catch me. And so Mother Yashoda caught Krishna. But now she realized that Krishna was so fearful. He was fearful of the stick. And he was shivering. And his jewelry was shivering with him. He was crying. And all the mascara that he had, it was all flowing. And because it was all flowing, he was a picture of fear. And Mother Yashoda felt very sad. And she thought, no, not to this extent of punishing my child. Let me do one thing. I will not punish Krishna with a stick. And she put down her stick. But she decided she must bind Krishna. Now before that, it is stated by Shastra that Krishna is so powerful as the Supreme Personality of Godhead that even fear personified is fearful of him. Who is fear personified? Yamaraj. Yamaraj is fear personified. Nobody wants to meet Yamaraj. Anybody here is particularly interested in meeting Yamaraj? Like right now? No, right? And nobody wants to set any later appointment with Yamaraj also. Nobody wants to do that too. In fact, if you can avoid any contact with Yamaraj for a while, is better. Right? Because all you need is one contact and you're finished. You don't need multiple contacts. So, Yamaraj is so fearful to everyone. And yet, Krishna, right, is so powerful that Yamaraj is fearful of Krishna. And yet, Mother Yashoda is so powerful that Krishna is fearful of Mother Yashoda. Amazing, isn't it? Why? This sight is bewildering to Kunti Mata. Vimohayati Veer. She says in Bhagavatam, 1st Canto, 8th chapter, that I am bewildered by seeing how Mother Yashoda could make Krishna fearful. How? Prabhupada writes there, because Mother Yashoda's devotion was unreserved. It was unmotivated. and therefore it attracted Krishna very much. And so Krishna became fearful of Mother Yashoda. And at that point of time, Mother Yashoda decided, let me bind Krishna. So she told Krishna, Krishna, stand still. You are a very restless boy. So I'm going to tie you. So Krishna became very calm, very meek, and he just sat there. Sometimes in some pastimes, Krishna behaves like that. He becomes very humble and very meek. When Krishna was with Satyabhama very often, Krishna would become a hand-packed husband, Srila Prabhupada would say. If Satyabhama said stand, Krishna will stand. Sit, Krishna will sit. Anything Satyabhama wanted, Krishna would do. But with Rukmini Mata, it was different. With Rukmini Mata, Krishna was always teasing her. One time Krishna made Rukmini Mata so fearful. One day Rukmini Mata was fanning Krishna, and Krishna just suddenly turned around and said, do you know what? I think, right, this marriage is not working. And I think you don't deserve me. You should break the marriage and go and marry someone much better. It was a mistake for you to marry me. And he went on and on and on, and Rukmini Mata became more and more scared until she fainted. She fell like a banana tree. That's what Bhagavatam says. So Krishna reciprocates differently with everyone. But with Mother Yashoda, it was fear. So Mother Yashoda said, let me tie you. And so she took the ropes, and she thought, now everything will be fine because I will tie Krishna. But with Krishna, you can never predict because he's God. You must submit. You cannot predict. And so Mother Yashoda tried to tie Krishna, but it was 2 inches short. And after that, she took more ropes, and it was still 2 inches short. She took all the ropes in the house and all the ropes from the neighboring gopis, and it was also 2 inches short. And when she got all the ropes and put them together, it was still 2 inches short. Mother Yashoda was befuddled, and she was thinking, how is this possible? The gopis were all around her and they were laughing. And then now Mother Yashoda was also smiling. But our acharyas tell her that even though she was smiling, she was very tired, she was endeavoring, but she was stubborn. She was stubborn and determined not to allow that Krishna be free, because she wanted to make sure Krishna would be restrained for his own good. That's very important. And because of that mood, which is unmotivated, Mother Yashoda's determination won over Krishna. And even though she could not tie him, she had the determination, but she prayed in her heart to Krishna. She said, Krishna, I cannot tie you, just like I could not catch you. Please allow me to tie you. And when she said, please allow me to tie you, that humility of Mother Yashoda, that meekness of Mother Yashoda attracted Krishna very much. That's why Srila Prabhupada says in many purports in Bhagavatam, especially in the 3rd canto, Srila Prabhupada says that Krishna is only attainable by those who are humble and meek. And Mother Yashoda is the paragon of humility in this pastime. She was very humble even though she is a mother. She prayed very hard that her son would be caught, not because she wanted to catch him, but because she was surrendered to his love. And on that basis, Krishna decided, let me be bound. Let me be bound. And so the 2 inches that were short became complete. And our Shastras tell us that the 2 inches represent 2 very important things. The first is what we call our endeavor, Shrama. Shrama, in Bhagavatam, this first inch is known as Parishrama. Parishrama means an endeavor which is very difficult. The word Shrama is actually in the root word of ashrama. In ashram, for example, every ashram has Shrama. You will realize in every ashram there is Shrama. People always say ashram means very peaceful place. Is Grahastha ashram peaceful? You're all smiling at me. You think Brahmachari ashram is peaceful? Ask the Brahmacharis. You think Vanaprastha ashram is peaceful? Ask the Vanaprasthis. If you think Sannyas ashram is peaceful, ask the Sannyasis. Every ashram is difficult, without doubt. But those who work in the ashram, performing their duty, they are attracting Krishna's mercy. That is ashram. So the first inch is parishrama. Those who endeavor for Krishna, those who work hard for Krishna, those who want to serve Krishna, Krishna then gives them the 2nd inch. And the 2nd inch is kripa. Kripa is the mercy of Krishna. Kripa is his monopoly and parishrama is your monopoly. If we want to work for Krishna, nothing is there to prevent us. If we put our heart and say that we really want to serve Krishna, Krishna will remove all obstacles to allow us to serve him. You all wanted to come for the program. There may have been so many obstacles. Your mind would have said, don't go, or go, it'll be very crowded, I don't know how long it will take, he will keep speaking, all these things will be in your mind. But if you really have a desire, then you will translate it into a feeling. And if you have a deep feeling, you will translate that into willingness. And this is Bhishma Dev's prayer. Bhishma Dev's first prayer is, let me now invest my thinking, feeling and willing, which for so long were invested in other things. Let me now invest it at the lotus feet of Krishna. And this is the Bhishma Panchak time. And this is a time we remember how Bhishma Dev remembered Krishna. The way he remembered Krishna is the same way Yashoda Mata remembered Krishna. That is why we remember Bhishma Dev in the last 5 days. Because sitting and lying on the bed of arrows, he remembered the Lord intensely and he chanted all his Bhishma Dev prayers. And these Bhishma Dev prayers are the same mood of devotion that Mother Yashoda had in Vrindavan. So this proves a very important point. Vrindavan is not a place. Vrindavan is a state of consciousness. Prabhupada in many writings has indicated this. Even if we cannot be physically present in Vrindavan, it is very important for us to develop Vrindavan consciousness. Prabhupada said anywhere where Krishna is discussed, that is Vrindavan. Where devotees chant Krishna's names, that is Vrindavan. Bhishma Dev may have been on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, but when he started saying his prayers of intense remembrance of Krishna, he was actually in Vrindavan consciousness. He may have seen Krishna in the four-handed form of Narayana, but that is immaterial, because Krishna appears the way his devotee wants to see him. Right? That is how Krishna appears. So you see how important it is that Mother Yashoda's devotion bound Krishna's mercy. And that is why Krishna could be bound. That is why Krishna could be bound. So Mother Yashoda did not tie up Krishna with a rope. Externally it looks like a rope. But Mother Yashoda tied him with the ropes of her pure love. When you chant Damodar Ashtakam, that is the exact words used, pure love. Pure means without material intentions, without doubts, with full faith. That is what Mother Yashoda did. And that is what Bhishma Dev felt as he lay on the bed of arrows. He had full faith that by remembering Krishna, he will attain the lotus feet of Krishna. Imagine the pain he must have felt with all the arrows on him. Imagine how thirsty he was. And later he would ask Arjuna to shoot an arrow, and Arjuna would elicit water for him. But despite all the inconveniences before him, his attention on Krishna, his matir on Krishna was unwavering. The same way Yashoda Mata was. And so now Krishna is bound and Yashoda Mata goes to do all her work. And she thinks Krishna will be very quiet and very peaceful. But who can control Krishna? Krishna is Swarat. And now Krishna says, I have one more pastime left to fulfill. I have one more promise that my devotee has made that I must do. And that is Narada. Now Narada is nowhere in this pastime. But he's there if you rewind the time. Now Krishna starts crawling towards the end of the garden. And there are two very big Yamal Arjuna trees like pillars. He crawls between them. And the Mota goes with him. But the Mota gets stuck. And the Mota wants to do some service for Krishna. So Krishna pushes. And the Mota becomes very blissful. And it pushes very hard. And the two trees fall. And when they fall, in their place is the beautiful form of Nala Kuvera and Mani Griva, two sons of Kuber, who is the superintendent of wealth. So Krishna asked the question, who are you two boys and why are you here? Some people ask me, Krishna knows everything, why should he ask who are you? But if Krishna doesn't ask, will you and I know? We won't know, isn't it? If Krishna just lay down like a very good boy, right, and didn't break the butter pot, we wouldn't be lighting lamps for him today. We won't have a Leela. So sometimes we should think about these things before we even ask these questions. This is common sense. Krishna enacts his pastime as he pleases. And we relish them because it is elected by him. That's it. And so now Krishna asked them, what is your history? And they said that we are the two sons of Kuber, intoxicated by pride. And really intoxicated because they were drinking all the time. They didn't have to work, right? They just were spending their time whiling away their life. One day when they were bathing in the rivers of Mandakini in Kailash, Narada Muni passed by. And when he passed by, they came out without any clothes on, and they were completely intoxicated. Narada felt pity for them. And so he said, what is the value of your human life if you are behaving in this way? And this is a very important question for all of us. What is the value of your human life? You eat, sleep, mate and defend. And the animals also eat, sleep, mate and defend. So we are just deluxe editions of animals. But until we take up Krishna consciousness, until we know the value of life, then what is the difference between both sides? We are two-legged animals. That's what we are. So Krishna asked a very important question. Narada asked that question. And then he said something. You become trees. But I pray to Krishna today that if he should hear me, someday, somehow, he will deliver you. And the boys thought, how will that happen? Where is Krishna in all this? He must be very upset with us. We have been cursed. How will we ever see Krishna? So they did not have much hope, but they became trees. But Krishna never forgot the promise of Narada. And so in this pastime, he decided, let me fulfill the desire of a pure devotee. And this desire was not meant for Narada. It was meant for someone else, two boys who had nothing to do with Krishna. And so Krishna told them, even though I have nothing to do with you, because Narada Muni has given you association, and because he has prayed so hard for you, it becomes my duty to protect you and deliver you. This is the most important aspect of the pastime today. The value of a moment's association of a pure devotee cannot be underestimated. Just one moment of association, whether they curse you, whether they bless you, is the same. For sadhus, whether they curse or bless, it is the same. That doesn't mean you and I go and curse and curse someone and say, Prabhu, don't worry, it's a blessing. No, we can't do that. But the sadhus can do that because they have nothing in their hearts. And so, the beautiful part of this pastime is the association that the two boys got by being cursed by Narada Muni. And how much time do you think they spent with him? Hardly 10-15 minutes. He had a few prayers to speak, which I think he would have finished very fast. That's all they had with him. But they were delivered on account of his prayer. So we come to understand the important part of this pastime, that Krishna is bound by the love of his pure devotees. He was bound by Mother Yashoda, he was bound by the Vanaras, and he was bound by Narada. In these three pastimes, right? In this one pastime, 3 episodes, you will see Krishna exhibiting his subordination to the devotees. This is his subordination to the devotees. Normally we think, that if we are subordinate to someone, we are weak. But Krishna is subordinate to his devotees. It has never compromised his strength, never. So we should also learn to be subordinate to the wishes of the devotees. We should live in such a way that we live to serve the devotees. That's how Padma Radhika Mataji and Paramatma Chaitanya Prabhu have lived. They live to serve devotees. All of you have had that experience. They will never say no to a service. They will never complicate their mind, okay, how to do this, where to do this, how there, should I do it this way, that way. They will have faith in Krishna and they will do it. I've seen them doing it. I've seen sometimes devotees, when you give them service, 101 questions, and then there is doubt, and then we're not sure whether we can do it. And by the time that finishes, the opportunity for service is gone. Because we lack faith. Why don't we just plunge in and do it the way the devotees have shown us? And Krishna will reveal all intelligence to you. That's what he did to Mother Yashoda. That's what he did to the Vanaras. And that's what he did to Narada Muni also. This is the point for us to understand. Now Krishna is tied and the pastime has ended. He's still tied to the mota. He's delivered the 2 boys. Now Nanda Maharaj and the cowherd men come back, and of all things they see Krishna is tied. And they're wondering, Krishna, what happened? Who tied you? And Krishna said, my mother tied me. And Nanda Maharaj was thinking, how unusual. Why should she tie you? You know? And after doing that, Nanda Maharaj very gently untied Krishna. And when he untied Krishna, Krishna became very happy. So this pastime is very beautiful. And one thing I do want to say to you, in the Bhavishya Puran, which is quoted by Jiva Goswami, it is nicely stated that Jiva Goswami raises an important point. If you read the last shloka of Damodar Ashtakam, right, you'll find that the last shloka is actually a shloka dedicated to Srimati Radharani, right? Namo Radhikayai Tvadiya Priyayai, Namo Ananta Leelaya Devaya Tubhyam. And sometimes the question people ask is, why in this Leela suddenly, out of the sudden, Radharani comes into the picture? She's in the picture because it is stated by Jiva Goswami that one time after Govardhan Leela, Krishna was late to meet Radharani. And when he came late, Radharani became upset with him. And so she said to him that before you run away again, or to punish you for being late, I will tie you to me. And she took a fold from her sari and she tied Krishna and she kept him there. And when Krishna was tied by Radharani, he then apologized very much to her and said, Radha, I'm very sorry that I have been late. But I was late because I was a bit busy with Govardhan Leela. You know, I was lifting the hill and then I was taking care of a few things. Indra was a bit not in line. I had to sort all that out. And then when I went home, my mother wanted to feed me. I had to eat also. And that's why I came late, you see. You know? So I'm sorry, I came late. When Srimati Radharani heard that very simple prayer and explanation by Krishna, her heart melted. And she then said, all right now, I'm not angry with you. And she released him. But Krishna became so pleased with her love to bind him to her that he declared a very important thing. He said that because you have bound me in this way with your love, thereafter, this form of me being bound will be known as Damodara. Dama means rope and Udara means belly. So Damodara means one whose belly is tied by the rope. And he said that I will enact this pastime in Vrindavan Dham for the pleasure of all my devotees. And I will enact this with my dearmost mother, Yashoda Maya. So actually, Krishna is also bound by Radharani. And if you go to Vrindavan, in Radha Damodar temple, you will see the priest during Kartik Mass, right? At certain appointed times, the priest will actually tie Radharani to Krishna in the deity form of Radha Damodar. A few devotees were there, you know, some sannyasis, and they were speaking about this. And when I researched this, I found that this is what Jiva Goswami had also brought up. So there's a beautiful connection why Srimati Radharani comes in the last shloka here, and why her connection is here with this Leela. Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki. Jai Srila Gurudeva ki. Nitai Gaura Premanande.